Hi everybody, I hope you're having a fantastic morning. Today for reading everybody, we're going to be learning about word endings, okay? And that means we're learning about the end of words, all right? Now the reason we need to learn about the end of words is because when some people are reading, I've noticed that some people accidentally miss the end of a word, okay? And it's really important to pay attention to the whole word because it can change the meaning. All right, boys and girls. Now, behind me here, I have written the word walk 4 times, okay? And I want to show you how we can change the end of the word, okay? Or we can change the word by adding something to the end, okay? Now, I've started with the word walk, and I can change this word by adding the ing word ending. I have just made this an ing word, okay? So now let's read this together. Walking, walking, all right? I can make this, give this an S word ending. I have now made this word say walks, okay? Walks. Or I can give it an ed ending and make this word say walked. Okay, let's read that together. It's a tricky one. Walked. All right, boys and girls. Now, all 3 of these words now have different meanings. Walking, walks, and walked. Okay, they all come from the word walk, but they now have different meanings. We've now changed the meaning of these words, all right? Which is why it's so important to pay really close attention to the end of words when you are reading them, okay? Now today, we are just going to focus on 2 word endings. I would like for those to be the ing word ending and also the ed word ending, okay? So like this one and this one, okay? Today we are not going to worry about the word ending, the word endings that have S at the end, okay? That's going to be for another day, all right? Now, I'm going to continue reading The Ugly Duckling today, and while we're reading, we are going to write down the words that have word endings ing and ed. Okay, boys and girls, so ing and ed. Okay, and we need to make sure that while we're reading, we pay really close attention to those word endings. So if you can see the words, please read along with me. I'm sorry, I'm just going to skip ahead. Okay, I think yesterday, let me have a quick look. Yep, yesterday we finished reading this page. I'm just going to back up and reread so we don't forget what happened last, okay? All right, just up from here. At last the winter turned to spring. The ducklings came back down to the pond. All right, I'm already going to stop and I want you to pay attention to this word here. This word says turned, okay? Now, I know it says turned because I've paid attention to the ed at the end. If it did not have the ed, that word would just say turn, okay? But it does have an ed and I need to pay close attention to that. So I read it as turned, okay? So I can now add that word to our ed word endings, okay? I've underlined that word ending, okay? The ducklings came back down to the pond, but they had grown up. Now they were ducks. They saw the ugly grey duckling, but he had grown up too. He was not a duck at all. Okay, I want you to pay attention to the word duckling. Think about what word ending this has. Where will I write this word? Duckling, okay? I can see it is an ing word, so it's got the ing word ending. Duckling, and I'm going to underline that word ending. Okay, awesome. If I am not a duck, what am I? He asked. Then he looked down into the water and saw his reflection. I look just like a fine swan, he said, surprised. Have a look at this word, boys and girls. This says surprised. Now, if I was to remove the D from this word, it would say surprise. Okay, but that wouldn't make sense. I look just like a fine swan, he said, surprise. That would not make sense. So the ED on this word at the end is extremely important. And that's why it's so important to pay attention to the word endings. Okay, surprised. I can now add that word to our ED word endings. Okay. I am a swan, he shouted with joy. Have a look at this word here, boys and girls, shouted. If I was to remove the ED from that word, it would just say shout, okay? But with the ED, it says shouted, shouted, okay? If it just said shout, it wouldn't make sense. I am a swan, he shouted with joy, okay? So that's why it's so important to make sure we pay attention to those word endings. It can change whether it makes sense or not, okay? So I'm going to add the word shouted to our ED word endings, and I can underline the ED in those words. All right, boys and girls, let me see how many pages we have left. We're going to finish those last 2 pages tomorrow, okay? Because I want you to get started on an activity now. You are going to do just what I've done. You can either choose to read The Ugly Duckling that you have been reading this week, or if you would prefer to choose your own book today from home, you can do that as well, okay? You're going to make a list of all the ING words, and you are going to make a list of all the ED word endings, okay? Make sure you underline the word ending like I've done, okay? And make sure you're paying attention to those word endings so that when you read them, they make sense, okay? Your title today will be word endings. Okay. Ending has the word ending, ING. All right, boys and girls, so it's activity time for you. Remember to send your work through to me, and I'll see you later. Bye, everybody.